Alright, let's try this. Hey YouTube, welcome to what I'm going to call a 3D printing quickie. These are just going to be videos for when they're not big projects, they're just like short, quick fixes to something. And today's is designing and 3D printing a handle for a basting brush, because the basting brush I had was for barbecue grilling, so the handle was like way long. Well, I don't know where my hands are. Anyway, the handle was really long, and my wife wanted to use it for like an egg wash, and I didn't want to go buy another silicone basting brush. So instead, let's just make a new handle for it. So enjoy. Alright, so we can see here that this is the original basting brush handle. It's real easy. I'm just going to turn on the light here so you can see better. Maybe not. And yeah, this should be real easy, and I don't want it to be like a foot long. That's real good for the grill, just not real good for in the kitchen. You can see here there's really nothing complicated. It's just a silicone head that pushes onto a brush handle. So I'm just going to take these measurements here using my digital calipers. These are the super cheap ones. If you want, go out and get super expensive ones. That's completely up to you. I think these were $10 or $12 whenever I got them. So there we can see, real blurry. There's my measurements, my super technical drawings. Don't be jealous if you can't draw that well. It just takes time. Alright, so here we are in Onshape, and I'm just going to start with a sketch. Now there's one thing, if you've ever used Onshape, you know I've missed already, and that is telling Onshape that I'm doing this whole thing in millimeters. So we see that I start with a center point rectangle. Then as soon as I tried dimensioning it, that's when I noticed that I fucked up. So let me fix that real quick. I really wish Onshape let you set a default for the workspace units, but it doesn't. So here we go. Just going to start with 2 center point rectangles. And I'm not real worried about the sizes that you see listed next to them right now, just because I'm going to define that later. And this is going to be the actual interface between the handle and the brush head. Now normally when I do things like this, I subtract 0.3 millimeters from whatever I measured, just because PLA can expand. It can also contract, but I tend to just take 0.3 off. This accounts for any kind of weird expansion or my really cheap calipers that I use. They're not super precise, so that puts a little bit more work on the design end, and maybe once in a while for really tight fitting objects I might have to print it a couple times. But I'm not paying over $100 for calipers. So there we go, I've got it all dimensioned out. I appear to have walked away for some reason. Alright, now it's time to take a look at it, just to make the video look fancy. Then we're going to extrude. The shortcut for extrude in Onshape is Shift E. Everything I do here is very CAD program neutral. You can do this whole thing in any CAD program you want. And if you're really ambitious, try it in OpenSCAD. I'd be really impressed. I just got to show the sketch again. Having trouble selecting something here. Oh, I've selected all the wrong things. Now I'm trying to remember, there's a key shortcut for hiding those planes. I just can't remember. If you ever want to flip the direction in Onshape, just hit that little arrow. Almost forgot, almost made this hollow. And yep, there's the head, and from here we're just going to draw out the actual body of the handle. I've actually decided I want to make this like 100 millimeters long, and then I will just subtract from that to make the handle. This is actually where the drawing gets kind of fun. Just for future plans, you'll see why I made that a new body later. But for now, we're on to sketch number 2. And I'm just going to do a center point circle. First, I'm going to do a construction line showing what the center of the handle is. I'll end up using that as a mirror line later on. And when you do construction lines in CAD software, it ends up giving you lines that you can dimension and dimension off of, but they're not considered for actually building solid parts. And then I just went and made the diameter of the circle the same as the width of the handle that I'm making, so its edges meet up. And now we're going to play with arcs, because arcs are fun. I'm just going to go from this point on the circle down to the end of the handle, and then we can adjust the severity of the curve. And super easy, just got to find the mirror. There it is. Select your mirror line, select what you want to mirror, and bam. Now I'm going to do another circle here. And then I'm just going to define the distance between the outer circle and the inner circle. And this is just in case you want to hang up this little brush. And all these outer areas are what's going to be cut away from the handle. Go to extrude, remove, and as long as we remove everything, 25 millimeters sounds fine. And there we go. That looks like a handle now, doesn't it? And from here, we're just going to add a bunch of fillets. Fillets. Fillets, fillets, what's that word? I forgot. We got to union it first. There we go. It's one part now. Hide sketch 1. And yeah. Just to make things pretty. And I think that 5 millimeter fillet looks pretty good. But let's play with it and find out. Yep. And since I've decided to fillet the inner circle as well, fillet, we're just going to make the whole fillet 2.5 millimeters. There we go. That looks pretty done to me. So now I'm just going to export it and slice it and print it. Here we are in my favorite slicer, Simplify 3D. And I've already imported the model, and if you hit Control L, you can select a surface to drop to the table. And obviously you want the flat part of these models to be on the table. So now I'm just messing with my settings. This is all going to be very personal to you and your printer and even the model. But I want it to be fairly strong, so I'm going to go with a large number of perimeters and a fairly heavy infill of 25%. So just slice it, and let's zoom in here. Let's take a look at how that's going to turn out. Yeah, that's going to be a nice sturdy handle, and the infill's looking good, the supports are looking good. Alright, let's actually up the outline perimeters. I think if we do, if we increase all the outside surfaces, we can reduce the infill. I think the outside surfaces will give it actually more strength than the infill. The infill is good for building an outside surface. It's not really strong. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's looking nice and strong. I love looking at things layer by layer. It's a lot of fun. Alright, saving it. Let's upload it and go. Alright, now that it's printed, let's take a look at how it turned out. Here's the original brush and the original handle. And here's the new handle, much shorter. I think it'll be much easier to use in a normal kitchen. And yep, the head just pops right off, look at that. And I think mine turned out pretty good, you know? It's not as clean looking as theirs, but it's a pretty good print. And then the head just pops right on. Flip-flop it around, it doesn't pop off. I think it's a great success. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more stuff. Over and out.